the first part is pretty good. So, listening to Revelation, and first off, actually, there's another thing I thought. So, on one of the churches, it talks about, if they do what he's telling them to do, or if they overcome, or I forget what it says. Probably, I think if they overcome is actually what it says. I don't know, but that they will be given the hidden manna, which, I mean, there's probably all kinds of stuff that could mean, but honestly, anyways, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I think that's interesting. It could be different things. It's probably mainly spiritual. And if it's not talking about physical, that's not that big of a deal, but anyways, and then he gets on to the Church of Philadelphia. And a few things. Like, I'm not really up on my, rapture theology. I know what I've heard is there's two churches that are more or less good, or I don't know, or I forget. There's two churches that are good, or it's just there's just literally one single church that's good, or no, one single church that's bad. Either two churches are good, or just there's only even one church that's really bad. I don't know. But as far as theology goes, what they do say is this Philadelphian church is the way to go. Whatever they're doing. They didn't I don't think they got any rebukes. God's what you're doing, do it. And whatever they are doing, it says, you've been given the keys of, I think it says the keys of David or of hate. I forget what it says. And then it says, I have given you an open door that no man can close. So basically, whatever they're doing, it's not something that can even stop. If this was based on their works, whatever they're quote doing, it's they might stop doing that, and then the door would be shut. So whatever this thing they're doing, it's not something that they can somehow stop doing. Otherwise, this door would be shut, right? So I imagine this door that God has opened, that no one's shutting, is their theological doctrine that they can do literally anything and not go to hell. They can do literally anything and not go to hell. Now it starts talking about the synagogue of Satan, which I don't know. I don't know, maybe God's given me a revelation. If I wanted to just say, I'd say it might even be Muslims, to be quite honest. When I was thinking about this earlier, I was I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say, but honestly, that actually might be Muslims. People who claim they're Jews but are not. They're oh yeah, I believe in the whatever, but they're not actually Jews. Muslim wasn't actually a thing back then, but they're basically say we're Jews, except they're not really Jews. That is honestly exactly what they're saying, basically. Because what I was going to say, like, that's a literal thing, more or less. Because, like, what I was going to say, this might be wrong, might be true, I don't know. I mean, but what I wanted to say is it's a spiritual thing, except that doesn't exactly line up. Like the Islam thing, they literally say they're Jews, but they're not Jews. But what I was thinking is if it's this, who was wrong, except everyone said that the Church of Philadelphia was wrong. It's those people who've lived by the law. So if it's just a spiritual Jew who's like, we have to live by the law, but that if that's what it's talking about, then that's why we have these people who are getting sick. They're not being kept. It's because they think they're saying, oh yeah, I'm living by the law. That is why I am going to get into heaven. In addition to, I don't even know what about Jesus they in addition to do, but like, I don't want to go there, but that's based. I want to say that might be something.
10,000 and thousands of thousands, saying with a loud voice, "Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing." And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth and such.
Okay, that happened last time and I thought it was a sign, except at the same time I wasn't sure it was a sign. I don't know why my phone decides to just like start playing completely randomly. Like I can't even open it on my phone, but anyways. These people who think they have to live by the law to be saved, except not. So I've been talking to this guy, and he's convinced that the law is just completely gone, and he seems to think that Moses' law, like most, if not all, I don't know, probably not all, but most, if not all of it was like, not all, like was just like man. It was purely man-made. In that in no way does it even apply anymore. And I'm trying to talk to him because, like, I don't believe that at all. Everything within me says he's wrong. But the thing is, he brings up this verse, and I know what he's saying. I mean, I don't know, there might be something to what he's saying. But I can't figure out exactly what to say, because, there's different things that he was using. He's like, well, that was just to point to the new covenant. It was, I don't know, I forget all the other things he was saying. But, when Jesus, fulfilled the law, I'm not exactly sure what he said that is. But we still, I don't know if I want to use the word have to follow, except kind of. But it's not, I don't know. like ultimately, what I was trying to think of what it means. Ultimately, like a lot of Christianity is like we have the love. Everything comes from love. And all this stuff is like a shadow of what was to come, of the ultimate, I don't know. But the thing is, all 613 of those laws were good, and I believe came from God. But so basically all these laws that they had, like there's a reason for all these laws. Like literally, if you wear cross-pollinated foods, they can be really bad for you, or bad for you, even really bad for you. I don't know if never mind, I won't get into that one, but all of these rules were really good. And now it's like whatever just is of love, that is the law. And the old law didn't even cover everything about what it was to love. And that was the other point this guy was making. He's like, there's something wrong with even the 10 Commandments. He was like, the 10 Commandments, do not commit adultery, that was even the wrong law. Because Jesus comes and he's like, actually, what it was supposed to be was if you even lust, that's adultery. And the same thing of do not murder. He was literally like, there was something wrong even with the do not murder, because that's not even what it was. Because even if you hate someone, that's murder. So and I'm like, all those 613 laws didn't fully give you what love is. And now we have that command. Everything has to come from love. But I still believe in all those commandments. And the thing is, I don't know, and even wearing clothing made with two different fabrics, what I've heard is there is a scientific purpose that you will actually get health concerns if you wear fabric mixed with two fabrics. It's actually scientific. And what does sin do? It leads to death. And what is the law? It is the law of sin and death. And this guy seems to think, well, that's why it was wrong. It was like, it was this law of sin and death. And Jesus like basically renounced it, except I'm like, that's not the word he used. But basically it's not even in existence anymore. I forget, but I don't believe anyways. But it is the law of sin and death, because the law of sin and death is you sin, you die. That is the law. How did Jesus fulfill the law? By dying. Sin had to warrant to death. How did he fulfill it? By dying for your sins. And literally that's the gospel. And that's the gospel.